Okay. All right. I think we're live. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Sharon. Most of you following know my wife, Stephanie. And today I want to welcome you to day two of our Be Your Own Valentine series. Obviously, as the name suggests, this is about self love. And without getting into the whole backstory, we had a bit of a kickoff video yesterday. But I want to share something with you today that I think is really going to be a very empowering topic, and I titled it Creating a New Reality. Now, I understand on the surface that might sound a little broad, a little esoteric, but what I want to do is sort of explore what it means to truly transform your life by addressing deep seated beliefs and emotional wounds. Whether you're joining us live or catching up with the replay, I think this is going to be really helpful. Of course, we love to have it interactive, going live on a couple different platforms here. So if you have any questions, as we go, drop them in. Hopefully, this training will be relevant for you. And if we have some time at the end, I'm going to do my best to answer your questions. So, when we talk about your current reality, I want to take a moment just by sort of understanding the concept of your personal reality. So, our reality, our life experience, isn't just what happens to us; it's how we interpret and react, or more appropriately, respond to our experiences in life, right? You probably heard the expression life is 10% what happens to us, 90% how we react to it or respond to it. Now, the way we process, the way we interpret our reality is really heavily influenced by our past. A lot of you can probably recognize that. The patterns that were created when we were young, whether we were neglected, abused, whatever have you, those programs shape and color and influence our experiences as an adult. The tricky thing is that a lot of times these are beliefs that we're not even consciously aware of, right? They're sort of our automatic autopilot mode, that we just kind of go through without being aware of it. So I want you to take a moment to just kind of think about your life, right? In terms of what areas of life are you happy with? I suspect a lot of you watching, if you're a fan or follower of these channels, there are probably some things, maybe particular relationships, that aren't really a happy part of your story. So, what areas do maybe you wish were different? And the reason this is important is because a lot of times we're stuck because we don't bring the subconscious stuff to the table, to the light of our conscious awareness. We just go through them automatically without really questioning them. We kind of have a sense that this is just the way life is. But I tend to think that there are a handful of categories in life that really affect our overall satisfaction. So when you think about, the aspects of your life that you're not happy with, it could be self-esteem, your perception of you, your value, your worth, what you're deserving of, what you're capable of creating in your life, and what your role is in the world. It could be your personal power. Maybe you have big audacious goals, but you find yourself procrastinating, right? Self-sabotaging. Maybe creating that New Year's resolution, and then by day 10 of January, you're back on the couch eating bonbons, right? Um, Maybe you're not happy with your physical health. Again, that's another big topic for New Year's resolutions, right? You say, New Year, new me. This is the year. You get that gym membership, and you start off with a lot of enthusiasm, and then you get distracted. Those old programs kick in, and next thing you know, you're back where you started. Relationships, again, that's a big one. Do you feel like relationships are liberating? Are you in a relationship with someone who loves you for love's sake, not for what they can get out of you? Do they support you and accept you for who you are, and also support you and encourage you in becoming who you want to be? So relationships, of course, as we know, is a really big pain point. Prosperity. Do you have job satisfaction? Do you feel confident when your bank account is full or when it's empty? Do you feel that you're able to pursue your passion, make a difference, and earn what you're worth? Or are you, like many of us, living paycheck to paycheck with kind of a bleak outlook for your career prospects? Grief and loss. How do you deal with change? Do you feel like change is scary? Or maybe you've had something really horrible, loss in your life that you just can't seem to get over. And another important one is spiritual connection. Do you feel like your life is a joyful adventure where you're the hero of your story? Do you feel that you're confident that the universe has your back? And even if you don't know what's around the corner, you know that you're okay and everything's going to be okay. Or do you feel just like the universe is an unfriendly place and you're just sort of blown about by the wind? So, again, this is about understanding your current reality. And it takes some courage, some self honesty, and we always encourage you to not judge yourself, but notice, right? Because self judgment and criticism is going to perpetuate that downward spiral, right? We know it's bad enough to feel bad, but then when you feel bad about feeling bad, it's just not it's not helpful. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. This can be a really powerful exercise in self discovery. Take a moment and jot down the areas of your life that you're happy with and that you're not happy with. And again, understanding these aspects is really the first step towards change. Now, when it comes to creating a new reality, and again, let's talk about this. All those categories I mentioned, there's sort of a common thread when it comes to the major roadblocks, and that's unresolved emotional pain. All right, so this pain can keep us stuck. Maybe it shows up as fear about making changes. Maybe change itself is so scary. A lot of times it's because we're so identified with our past personal history that even though it sucks, it's familiar, right? So we have that comfort of the familiar. And the idea of creating something new is so scary, even though there's unlimited potential there, we stick with what we know. And I love the saying that says your new life is going to cost you your old one. It really is a matter of letting the old version of you die. And again, so far as we're identified with our past personal history, the idea of becoming someone new is literally an existential threat. So, this pain can keep us stuck. It can prevent us from pursuing what truly makes us happy. And again, it can affect our relationships, our work, our self esteem. And self esteem is really a big one. 99 out of 100 times when we work with clients, that's where we start because, again, we can talk about your self concept, but it really affects every area of your life. All right. If you have low self esteem, not only do you wake up feeling, ugh, but it can affect your health, your relationships, your job, any of those things. We'll never rise above our opinion of ourselves. All right. So if we have low self-esteem, it can affect everything. And that's why it's so crucial to heal these wounds, not just put a band-aid on a bullet wound, but really truly heal them at a deep level if we're going to be able to move forward. So, how do you do this? Well, some of you have been following, probably have heard Stephanie and maybe even me talk about this a lot, but in terms of the tools to get leverage and actually break out of these old patterns, that's where our what we call our rapid reset process comes into play. Now, these aren't just woo-woo new age modalities or techniques. They're really gateways to a profound transformation. And some of you watching, you might have experienced this process. You might have watched my training on change versus transformation. And I make the distinction because it's really important. A lot of us try to change our lives by rearranging old ingredients, hoping that we'll come up with a new recipe. Again, it's very limiting to try to move forward based on only what you know from the past. Transformation is opening yourself up to infinite possibilities. And that's really what this method, this rapid reset, allows you to do. It's really allowing you to declutter your mind, get rid of the old baggage. All right. If you think of yourself as a hoarder, your house is filled up with memories, good, bad, and ugly. And we can acknowledge that they had a purpose in the past, but if they're not serving where you're going, it's clutter. When you clear that out, it sets the stage for profound transformation. And again, I say it all the time. I don't ever throw shade at traditional talk-based therapy, but a lot of times it's the equivalent of that hoarder getting all your crap organized into neat piles, right? You can spend years on the therapist's couch, understand the origin of your dysfunction. You've done all the research about narcissism and codependency. You understand all that stuff. It's all organized, but you're still in it, right? So this process is really about transformation. It's about clearing out the past, and the benefits are many. But number one, your internal environment is no longer cluttered with all this toxic, dead stuff. But you can get all that out and start to recognize who you have always been underneath all that. And the beautiful thing is that you've now just created space to begin to receive new, wonderful joyful things. So when it comes down to this rapid reset process, again, it's not about becoming something that you aren't already. It's just about eliminating all the stuff that's limiting and cluttering your viewpoint. So it really is a process then that allows us to communicate directly with the subconscious, right? The storehouse for our beliefs, our values, our attitudes, our perspectives, the lenses through which we view the world. It lets us clean off all that junk so we can see more clearly. And again, when you change your beliefs at the subconscious level, you change your perceptions, the way you look at the world. And it took me a while to grasp this concept because I used to think, oh, life is happening to me. And you begin to shift into this paradigm where you recognize life is happening for you. And it's really profound because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And again, this is shifting from the traditional old, slow, linear, Newtonian mechanistic view. I've got to do A plus B in order to get C. It's shifting from that into the quantum realm. And the beautiful thing about this, and I want you to consider this, your desired personal reality, which let's face it, is the state, the emotional state that you think doing and getting will afford you. That reality exists right now, fully formed in the quantum field, the field of infinite possibilities. And the reason this is so important is because the life you're after, that peace, that joy, that sense of purpose, passion, fulfillment, resilience, where you can let go of the stuff that bothers you, that reality is not at the end of another 1, 5, or 10-year road of therapy. It's literally available to you right now. Now, these methods I'm talking about aren't, again, woo-woo, new age nonsense, but they're backed up by neuroscience. And it's really a practical way to shift the beliefs that no longer serve us. And I think ultimately the biggest side effect of this process is peace of mind. And again, it's not a conscious mind exercise. You go to a therapist and get some new understandings and distinctions and think to yourself, okay, next time my narcissist pushes my buttons, I'm going to hope to remember what I learned. And no, this is you literally wake up as a different person. You viscerally feel different. And again, I don't care what you think is going to bring you happiness. I'm convinced we all do what we do, not to have the things, but because of what we imagine having those things will allow us to feel. So, in other words, you stop putting the cart before the horse. You can feel right now as if your beautiful, wonderful life is on its way to you now, even before the things show up that reflect that. And this is that quantum method. Quantum science teaches the primacy of consciousness. Your awareness comes first. You get what you think about all day long, whether you want it or not. And again, what guides what you think about all day long, 90 to 95% of the time, is these subconscious beliefs. So again, the rapid reset process is an absolute game changer. And I want to kind of share, like in practical terms, what this looks like, because Stephanie and I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients, men and women from all around the world for over 10 years now. They've been successful in other areas of their life, but in terms of love or self-esteem, those sort of things, they've been stuck. They've tried traditional talk-based therapy. They've done all the research. They've been to the 12-step programs, the support groups. They may even have a supportive, loving, group of family and friends, but it's not much more than they're there, yeah, he sucks and whatever, and at a certain level, that validation is helpful. It's nice to know that, okay, I'm not crazy. There's actually something going on here. But it really is more about shifting into something new. And again, I want to share some examples of this because we've had women who've been in therapy, even trauma-based therapy for years after suffering some pretty horrible stuff in their past without making real progress. And they get involved with us and I facilitate this process of transformation with them, give them the information and the tools, and literally as quickly and easily as you edit a Word document, they completely transform. And it's a new reality. They become a new version of themselves. So, and I mean, I can give you countless examples. You might have heard us talk about some of these women we've worked with. Elsa, she had dealt with a really tumultuous and turbulent upbringing, her family life, really horrible relationship with her parents. It led her into a cycle of toxic relationships where not only was it dysfunctional and unhappy, a real roller coaster ride, but it was getting violent. She was closed off, repressed, and ultimately we had this, we went through this process of transformation, and literally in one session with me, she had this cathartic release of all these repressed emotions. It was really profound. It's like I liken it sometimes to eating bad shellfish, right? Throwing up isn't pleasant, but you'll feel better afterwards. So again, this process doesn't have to be long, drawn out, and painful. But with Elsa, after one session, she just kind of sicked up all this stuff, had a profound release, and not only did it allow her to engage with her mother in a deep, honest, and transformational way that actually completely transformed their relationship, which had been strained to say the least for years. But it transformed her self concept in terms of she no longer was willing to settle in relationships, sell herself on the clearance rack, as I say. She went out to just have an absolutely joyful life, and we get to see this on social media and whatnot. Really, just standing in her power and freedom and happiness, being single. And then as a result of that, she met someone who was a better fit, and they're just absolutely loving life. We had another client, Blanche, who, and this is not to compare her situation to anyone else's, but her reality was numbness, mental compartmentalization. She'd gone through some really like blood chilling abuse by trusted family members from a young age, to the point where she was just numb. It spilled out into other relationships. Her grandkids would come over, they'd be constantly fighting. We went through this process, excuse me, made this transformation, and it was like the blinders came off. She was seeing colors, she was getting out in nature and just like soaking things in, enjoying it, feeling more peace, more joy. And the cool thing is, we talk often about how, well, you can't change other people, but when you change yourself, it changes the equation of these other relationships that you're in. Strangely, coincidentally, after the shift, her grandkids would come over, and instead of constant bickering, they were actually getting along. They would actually come to her and say, "Grandma, let me get a hug. I want some of your good energy." It's really powerful. Again, there are other ways that our beliefs affect our lives. Claudine is another one we talk about. Her reality was not only, a matter of neediness in relationships as a result of this depleted self concept, but she was sort of limited in her career growth. And we could talk about how she set herself free from the cycle of toxic relationships. But then it occurred to her, hey, my job environment is also toxic. I'm not showing up in a way that will allow me to move past that. So one of the side effects, the happy side effects of this transformational process, after transforming her inner reality, she went on to pursue career growth and advancement, got a promotion, a new job where they sent her to San Diego, a beautiful location, and wound up making literally six figures more per year. Now, those results may not be typical, but we've had a number of clients who, as a result of elevating their self concept, went for the promotion, went for the new job, asked for the raise, felt more confident, felt okay if it doesn't happen, but they went for it. They weren't limited, and they went on to get it. I mean, literally tens of thousands of dollars of increase just by making a shift in their perception, changing their personal reality. Um, One near and dear to my heart is our friend Donnie. I almost get emotional every time I talk about him. He was one of my earlier clients years ago, and found me online. He had been diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a deadly diagnosis that basically causes you to suffocate. It's actually as prevalent as breast cancer, but doesn't get the same attention. Well, he was raised by a hypochondriac mother. Anytime she got sick, he'd start freaking out, right? But to cut to the chase, he had a fear of death. He was not doing the things that he wanted to do out of this fear. We had a rapid reset session, and he got over his fear of death. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you get over the fear of death, which for most of us is right up there, right along public speaking, when you transform fear at that level, there is nothing you cannot accomplish. Our dear friend Donnie went on to live his best life. Again, he's toting around an oxygen tank. He's a musician like myself. He got back out there and he was gigging, writing music. He started a YouTube channel to support other people with um, IPF. He wound up on the cover of an industry medical magazine. He actually went on to outlive his doctor's prognosis by a couple of years. God bless him, he's passed, but for the remainder of his life, he lived his best life. And there are all sorts of examples like this, even stuff that might not seem like a big deal. Adele comes to mind. She came to us, and one of the symptoms of her then current reality was road rage. We shifted that, and she had more. She just had a sense of peace. I mean, something like that can be a big difference. You ever get that? Like someone cuts you off in traffic, and it just pisses you off and throws off your whole day. When you shift to a state of emotional self-reliance, you don't get caught up in those subconscious programs. I like to say being triggered is only an issue when the gun is loaded. You practice this emotional disarmament. I did that for myself. I used to get pissed off. I had like a 2-hour commute to work at a job I had in the past. And the traffic was like infuriating, right? I'd get cut off and be all pissed off. I shifted to a place where it's like, hey, you know what? Okay, that was scary for a second. I'm okay. You know what? Maybe they just got bad news that a loved one is in the hospital and that's why they're in a rush. God bless them, send them on their way. A different reality, different way of perceiving things, and a different experience of life. And again, peeps, these stories are not just inspiring, but I want to show you that change is possible for anyone. Doesn't matter how long you've struggled with any of these areas of dissatisfaction in your life. Doesn't matter what caused things to get screwed up for you in the first place. Transformation is possible, and it can happen a lot more quickly than you realize. So what I want to do before we kind of wrap up this little lunch and learn is give you a practical tool. Now, again, a lot of you have heard of other things, affirmations, positive thinking, meditation, even some, more advanced techniques, hypnosis, EMDR, tapping. I'm all for whatever works. I've been facilitating this process for over 13 years, and it just works. It's long. It's more effective than talk-based therapy. Again, that has its place. It's easier than EMDR, safer than hypnosis, more longer lasting than EFT or tapping. So this process really works. But what I want to give you is, because I do one-on-one sessions, both individually and with our inner circle clients, but I want to give you something that you can use that is really a critical tool in reshaping your subconscious mind. And this is about goals. It's about a goal statement, a new program, a new software app, if you will, for your mind, that with this process you can install, and it doesn't matter what was in the hard drive before. It was just information held in an energetic matrix. It's literally gone. Now, this is also a process for crafting a really effective affirmation. And you can take this, what I'm going to teach you right now, put it on a Post-it note by your bed, and repeat it before your feet hit the floor in the morning and before you drift off to sleep at night with clear intention and heartfelt emotion. And you will begin to retrain that old dog and start to shift your perceptions and your beliefs. But there are 5 criteria for crafting an effective goal statement. And this is important because it's designed to speak in language that the subconscious mind actually understands. So let me get right into it. The first, and you might want to, feel free to jot these down and take some notes. So when it comes to creating this new software program, it has 5 criteria. Number 1 is it should be personal. What I mean by that is we're not looking to change other people, right? We're looking to change ourselves. And on a spiritual level, there is just one. But I digress. So it should be framed in the personal. So very often you'll use the personal pronoun I, or a statement that you want to be true for you. Number 2, it should be framed in the present tense. Okay, not I will or I should or I want to or I'm going to, but more like I am or I feel. It's really interesting. The reason for this is because the subconscious mind, the storehouse for these beliefs, has no concept of past or future. For your subconscious mind, it's only always right now. And I think this is so cool to consider because to me, this is the reason why you can have a subconscious memory of something from the past get triggered and you feel the same right now as you did when it happened. So again, it should be present tense. Number 3, it should be positive. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. It's like if I were to say, don't think of a pink elephant. What happens, right? So again, it's more important to focus on what we want rather than what we don't want. It wouldn't serve us to say, I don't kill myself by smoking cigarettes. All right. So again, you want to state it in the positive. The next criteria for a new program, this new goal statement, is it should be short, sweet, to the point. All right, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a lengthy summary of the life you want to live. The words themselves aren't important. It's the concept that they point you towards. So again, you don't want to be like trying to memorize this whole big long thing. It should be concise and to the point. And again, the words don't matter. What matters is the concept that the words point to. And that actually leads to criteria number 5. An effective goal statement for this new program is that it should be emotionally meaningful, juicy, representative of your highest excitement. Now, I'll insert here the obstacle for a lot of people is simply that they haven't been willing because they haven't given themselves permission to dream big again. This is key. And Mel Robbins, summarized the idea. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You don't know how it's. You don't even know. You have to know how or if it's even possible. You need to give yourself permission. Ask, because I'm telling you, your superconscious mind, your soul, the governor and orchestrator of your transformation, needs nothing from you other than to ask to receive what is already yours. This process of transformation, again, isn't about earning your worth. It's simply about letting go of all the stuff that you thought you needed in order to receive what is yours. And again, it's there for you. It's there for you right now. And again, this process, you can use this, the 5 criteria: personal, present tense, positive, concise, and emotionally meaningful. You can craft a statement. In its essence, it's an affirmation, something you want to be true for you. But when you practice this in a state of clear intention and elevated emotion, especially in the morning and the night, right? When the veil is thin, right? The barrier to your subconscious mind is thinner. You'll begin to shape this. And I want to just illustrate the point here. I've had clients make massive transformation in their life with a simple 2 or 3 word goal statement. It's a little bit of a freebie. Some of you might want to jot this down and think about how profound the change could be if this were true for you. 2 words: I matter. Or another one that is very popular: I am good enough. Ask yourself, is that true for you? Do your habits of thinking and feeling and behaving reflect that reality? How would you feel if it did? So it's really, really powerful. Um, so again, this is about creating a new reality. And it's not about blowing smoke up your own ass and just, rearranging old ingredients. This is a quantum leap. I mean, I'll share with you personally. It took me some time to get to a place where, I'll share this story. I struggled for years, over a decade, with suicidal depression. Now I'm probably one of the only people in my family who's not on medication. So I can speak personally as well as professionally to the profound impact. In terms of a new reality, yeah, I still remember what happened, but it has a feeling like it's like a bad movie I saw once. It feels like another lifetime or someone else's lifetime. This is a timeline jump, okay? This is a quantum leap. Using the process, this rapid reset that we use with our clients, it's not always one session. Sometimes there are layers, right? Sometimes you have to dip your toes in a little bit to, okay, and we create a safe and sacred space. But you can feel right now as if your past pain never happened. It's not brainwashing, right? It's not a cult. I got no Kool-Aid for you. It's not eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. You may occasionally be reminded of what's happened in the past. But what's happened is you've severed the emotional ties that kept you focused on that and wasting every precious present moment reliving the past. So I'd love to, I know I've been going on for a bit. I'd love to hear your thoughts, maybe answer any questions you might have. What fears or challenges are you facing in your current reality that's maybe preventing you? And our doors are always open to continue the conversation. If you're watching this as a replay, you can comment on the video. For those of you watching on other platforms, the replays are available in our FB group. So you can look up Divorce Support, Heal, Rebuild, and Thrive on FB. Fill out the membership questions if you're not already a member. We moderate this very, very tightly. It's not, one of those creepy, spammy groups out there. But if you want more support, you want to be able to watch the replay, check that out. But let me just sort of hop over here and see if there are any questions. So hopefully this was helpful. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me check. Steph's got me on the tickety talk as well. Okay. Oh, looks like we got a bunch of people watching. Well, I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I don't really see any questions here. Of course, I could be looking in the wrong spot. This is how adept I am at TikTok. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. All right. Well, so let's wrap this up. Again, I want to encourage you to reflect on what we've talked about. It's not always pleasant or comfortable, but take an inventory of your life and your level of satisfaction in those key areas, right? Again, self-esteem, personal power, health, relationships, financial abundance, grief and loss, right? How long you feel bad after something bad happens, your sense of spiritual connection, your purpose, your reason for being here. Reflect on these things and identify the areas that you're not really content, peaceful, joyful, fulfilled in. And then start to visualize the version of you who has the desired life experience that you want. And then you can start to actually, from that perspective, look backward and start to ask yourself, okay, what would have happened along that timeline to my best self that would have shaped my new reality? Again, this isn't woo-woo. We get what we focus on, whether we want it or not. The process we use of rapid reset allows you to directly access your programming. So you become the version of you who's like, yeah, it may not be here right now. It's on its way, right? I use the analogy of, staying stuck in the past. It's like somebody stole your last $10, but you got a check for $1 million in your other hands. Is it helpful to, chase that guy down? Say, hey, why'd you steal that from me? I didn't deserve that, right? Or go deposit the check. You're going to feel like $1 million, even while you're waiting for that check to clear. Your new reality is that close. So again, hopefully this is helpful. I want you to think about that. This is day 2 of our Be Your Own Valentine series leading up to Valentine's Day. I appreciate you for joining. We're going to be back with the next video in the series tomorrow. So again, keep moving forward. You have the power to create a reality that reflects your true self. Pain may be natural, but there's no merit badge for suffering. That's a result of pain that for whatever reason we can't let go of. You can, with the right guidance, support, and tools, quickly and easily, almost in a fun way, let go of the past so you can live something better. So again, for those of you looking for more support, I mentioned our community on FB. We love to continue these conversations and support each other in your journey. We also have paid offerings, individual sessions, our Brilliant Life Blueprint, which is really the best of all of our guidance, support, and tools. A really wonderful community. We're mom and pop shop, right? Me and Steph. This is our passion. This is what we do, and so feel free to reach out if you're watching on TikTok, whatever. Shoot Steph a message. We can always have a chat. There's no pressure to work with us, but we can help you get clear on your biggest opportunities for change and form a clear, actionable plan so you can stop running west looking for sunrise and actually start to create the life that you're worthy, deserving, and capable of creating. Because I want to tell you, there's enough room in this universe for you to have that little slice of peace and joy. And not only is it for you, but the people in your life are going to be influenced positively too. You may not be able to change them directly, but by transforming yourself, there are people watching you. You're going to give them permission to do so as well. So we have a responsibility, I feel, to ourselves and to, frankly, the evolution of our society. We're on the threshold of a new world, people. We're all going to do our part. So change in the world happens at the individual level. If any of this is intriguing, you want to chat with me, just reach out. I love this stuff. Obviously, I get started talking, it's hard to shut me up. But again, hopefully that was helpful. Thank you. Wishing you all the best. And again, it's never too late to make new plans, right? Doesn't matter what you've dealt with. You can start something new today. And with the right tools, you don't have to wait to feel better, to feel okay, right? Sometimes it's a blessing just to get your head back above water. Do that, right? Become more buoyant. So you're not like doggy paddling, trying to not drown. Get those big stones off your chest first, and then from there we can talk about the distance between sea level and the upper atmosphere, where things get good. Strange, weird coincidences, new opportunities, relationships start popping up, and it's like, wow, that's really freaking cool. You can let go of the need to control and just receive. And again, for some of you, I know this might sound weird and woo. That's how I roll, but there is real practical application. As far as I'm concerned, this is what life is about. Learning the lessons that the past had to teach us. Don't worry about why. Just know that it was meant to happen to bring you to this level of understanding. Look for the lesson, let go of it, and you can move on. And furthermore, when you reach that state of elevated consciousness, you're going to have so much more of an expanded capacity to appreciate everything you've been through. It's really powerful. I wish this sort of freedom for all of you. So anyway, my name's David. Thanks for chilling. Any questions come up, reach out to us. But I want to thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned on all channels. Same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow for the next episode in the Be Your Own Valentine series. Love you.